All right, hello to everybody on the video. My name is Josh Herring. I'm a humanities instructor at Thales Academy, Rollsville. And today I'm going to do this instructional video showing you how to do an impromptu speech. We're here in one of my 10th grade classes at Thales Rollsville, so if you hear any students in the background, those are real students. And I'm going to show them how to do this, and along the way also show you how to give this kind of speech. So, this is the new event for the Coolidge Debate League at Luddy Schools, and we're adding now not just a debate event, but now a speech event called Impromptu Speaking. Hopefully you have read the official event description, which states that Impromptu is an individual limited preparation speech event. Students who compete in Impromptu may not compete in debate. The event works as follows. Each student enters the room when it is his turn to give a speech. The student reads the quote on the desk and has a total of 7 minutes. Students may bring a 3x5 note card with an outline written on it in advance to use for their speeches. 2 of the 7 minutes should be used to prepare a speech, and then 5 minutes should be spent giving the speech. Students should interpret the quotation, agree or disagree with their interpretation, and then give an argumentative speech explaining their position. Students are ranked 1st through 6th in the round and are awarded speaker points. Judges use the following criteria to evaluate students: time management, clarity of argumentation, variety of examples, and strength of interpretation. This event helps students develop quick thinking, clear articulation, and literary interpretation skills. Now, all of that hopefully makes sense, but I want to walk you through the actual process of developing an impromptu speech. And in the next video, you can see a real live student actually go through this exact process. So, before you begin an impromptu speech, you should have the outline that is on the whiteboard behind me already written on your note card. So, let me walk you through the pieces here that make up this outline and explain it. This outline is used to produce a 2x2 speech or a 2.2-point speech. Here's how this works. The outline begins with an introduction, which is also called the hook. You want to get your audience or your judges' attention with a story or an illustration, something that grabs their attention. Your hook then transitions into the quote, because the quote is what the speech is all about. Now then you need to not just give the quote, but you need to attribute it, make sure you say who is the original source of the quote, and then explain what it means. That explanation is called your interpretation. Now that interpretation needs to be followed by your agreement or disagreement with the quotation. That's the heart of your speech. Because you're not just giving a speech about a quote, you're also arguing whether or not the quote is good or bad, true or false, right or wrong, good advice, bad advice. What should your audience do because of this quotation? They should either believe the quote or disbelieve the quote, and so on. The rest of your speech, then, is a set of arguments that are designed to help your audience agree with your perspective on the quotation. So, the next piece of the outline is called the roadmap. The trick with giving a speech is that you have to keep in mind that your audience is very bad at listening. Your audience is not going to remember that you have a certain structure in mind. So you need to start by telling the audience, today I'm going to give you 2 main arguments about this quote. My first argument will be, and then you state it. My second argument will be, and then you state it. That then becomes your transition to your very first argument. That's the first point on the board. Now you'll notice that there's an outline. You have Roman number 1, A and B, Roman number 2, A and B. The A and B parts are for your examples. I mentioned a moment ago that this is called a 2.2-point speech. You have 2 main points with 2 subpoints for each main argument. So you need to have an argument that you make and then 2 illustrating examples underneath each argument. So that then takes us from argument 1, example A, example B, to argument 2, example A, example B. By now, you've used up most of your time, so by the time you are done with your second argument, you need to transition to the conclusion. And the conclusion then is going to include a lot of pieces you've already put together for your speech. Your conclusion starts by going back to the quotation and reminding the audience of the interpretation, and then reminding the audience of where you have proven that your interpretation is correct through your arguments. And then you wrap this whole thing up by tying your speech back together to your opening example. Now let's talk for just a moment about the time element here, because all of that happens in about 5 minutes if you use your time correctly. One of the main criteria for evaluating an impromptu speech is time management. You have a total of 7 minutes at your disposal. As soon as you turn the quotation over, the judge is going to begin timing you. And the judge will let you know how much time you've used at every 30-second interval. 30 seconds used, 1 minute used, 90 seconds used, 2 minutes used. At the 2-minute mark is when you want to be ready to stand up and give your speech. You have 5 total minutes remaining, and then you want to fill those 5 minutes following this outline to then give your speech about the quotation. So, you have 7 total minutes. Now, if this is your first time giving an impromptu speech, I want to encourage you that you may need more than 2 minutes. You may need 3 minutes, in which case you are giving a 4-minute speech. You might need 4 minutes, in which case you are giving a 3-minute speech. But if you do make that choice and you need more time and give a shorter speech, expect to be ranked lower by the end of the round. Because one of the things your judge is looking for is someone who can think quickly enough to put together a 5-minute speech in only 2 minutes of time. You don't have a lot of time, so you need to walk into the round with this outline already written on your note card, ready to go. I hope you enjoy Impromptu. It's a great event, and it's one that I've enjoyed for 4 years of competitive practice and 3 years of teaching. It's a great amount of fun, and it helps develop the mind in some fantastic ways. So thank you again for your attention, and I hope you have great success in the Coolidge tournament competing in Impromptu.